All right, it's kind of late at night, so I'm going to keep it down a little bit, but we're going to do some European predictions. But of course, I think you really can't do European predictions without looking at what happened. Those are the teams. But I think if you haven't heard by now, Carmine Corp has missed out on the European main event. They lost to SA, and then they lost to Top Cougars in the lower bracket, which means they go out 17th through 24th, I believe. Obviously, this is a very upsetting result for Carmine Corps. And to just give my brief thoughts about it, I think I'd like to echo what Johnny says a lot in terms of this process. I think with Carmine Corps, they have to be better. Like, they have to be winning these series. There's no doubt. And I think, especially from the competitor standpoint, like Vatira, Rise, Atal, Farah, they've all said this themselves, that they only have themselves to blame, right? And that can be true. But at the same time, I do think a lot needs to be fixed with this format. I thought this when Shopify Rebellion missed it. I thought this when Dignitas missed it. I think it is not a good system if you have teams that are contending for majors getting eliminated off screen. For example, with Shopify Rebellion, they had made top four. They were in a great position. All of a sudden, their major hopes are dashed when everyone's supposed to be watching European Rocket League. This Carmine series, they literally got eliminated during North American RLCS. Like, I was paying more attention to the Space Station Gaming series without realizing what was happening with Carmine Corp, because these things shouldn't be happening at once. We shouldn't be watching Carmine Corp get eliminated from major contention, or maybe not eliminated from major contention, but we shouldn't be watching them get eliminated from major contention on a sideshow, not in front of the main crowd. Like, this should be something that should be talked about on the main broadcast while European Rocket League is being played. Because any casual viewer who's going to tune in next week being like, all right, I'm excited to watch my favorite team, Carmine Corp, play, isn't going to know. Like, the focus this weekend was supposed to be North American Rocket League, and instead, the main focus turned into Carmine Corp losing. So, whatever it is, I have many thoughts on the format. I'll suggest them all at the end of the season, but this video isn't for going over the format. Let's go ahead and go through predictions. It's weird that Gentlemates have the number one overall seed due to this. That's something that kind of gets covered up as well. And last thing in terms of qualification, I will say one team that's not getting talked about that also kind of got shafted is this Endpoint team. They were 2-3 in the last Swiss. I believe that they are around I rank them around 10th in Europe, I believe. In the upper bracket, they lost to Grid Serve Resolve, who got top 4 in the last event. And then in the lower bracket, they lost to Team 3 because Team 3 got upset. So Endpoint is actually a case where they got beat by two teams that have the potential to make top 8. I believe I had Team 3 ranked above Resolve before Resolve beat PDS. But both of those, Team 3 and Resolve are both, very consistent top 10 teams in Europe. Endpoint is looking like they're up there as well, but they had to face two top 10 teams in Europe to make it into the top 16, and they couldn't do it. So it's kind of wild that a team that is that good is getting bracketed. And this time, it wasn't like it was their own fault. Like with Dignitas, you can point to their loss over a triple threat. With Shopify Rebellion, you can point to their loss to G Buffo, I believe it was. So, but with Endpoint, it's like, oh, you lost to two top 8 teams. Like, what can you do? Anyways, I've rambled on for far too long. Let's get into the predictions before I get more people commenting. I don't really know who are on these teams. Low block is Goffs, Davoof, and Grandma. I have heard of a lot of those names, but I'm not feeling the EU bubble scene popping off right now. I think there are some good teams in the EU bubble scene that have potential. I didn't mean to click on Luna Galaxy there. Vitality and La Masia. La Masia is Smashy, Alems, and Matt. Alems is the first woman in RLCS Europe, I believe. That might be all-time for Europe. First woman since Tallybird back in RLCS X. She's only the third woman to make RLCS, or at least the main stage of RLCS at all. The other two being Tallybird and Karma. So props to them, but you're facing Vitality, and I really like this Vitality squad. I think they're on a tear 3-0. BDS and Valiant. Valiant is Mozzarella, Gyuk, and Econ. This is the team that upset Team 3 to, throw what I was just talking about into motion. That being said, I'll give it 3-1 because they were able to pull off that upset against T3. Daystar is Icon, Matscray, and Nico. They're also new to the main event. I believe maybe all these teams are new to European main events. It would make a lot of sense. I'll give this a 3-0. Luna Galaxy and Sa, this has some big upset potential. Obviously, Sa recently took down Carmine Core. They lost a player in the offseason and lost Tho during the transfer window. But then they picked up Rizex. Rizex is a solid player. I like Rizex a lot. I'll make this go to 5 then. I like this Sa squad. But I'm not going to pick an upset just yet, even though it is Europe, and I have picked way too many favorites for this being Europe. Here's where the first upset will happen. I'll go with Top Cougars 3-1 over Resolve. Resolve coming off the high of winning and making top 4 last weekend. Top Cougars coming off the high of knocking Carmine Core out before the main event. So, exciting matchup. I hope this is the one we see on mainstream. I think this Top Cougars is better than they've been showing in the bracket as well. So, I'll give it to them, but I do think Resolve bounces back eventually. Jobless and Belly Goal, it's good to see speed back in this event, and I'll make it go 5, but I'll have Jobless coming out on top. And then Team 3 and Fast Forward. This Team 3 also made a change, and I'm kind of blanking. They have Noah Saki now. And then Fast Forward made a change. They have Smokes in place of Simas. So I'll make this a close one as well, but I'll go with the favorites, Team 3. Team 3 kind of got bracket shafted in the last EU event. They'd beaten a lot of the teams that Resolve lost to, but they got a harder round 5 matchup. But then Resolve beat BDS, so moot point. Team 3, gonna lose to Team BDS. I'll give them 1 game. Vitality Jobless, I feel like we've seen this before. I'll make this one a sweep. Oxygen Luna Galaxy. I know Oxygen made their run last time. They beat Carmine Core. They made top 4. They almost beat Gentlemates. They lost to Luna Galaxy in the Swiss last event, and I feel like this is going to be one of those scenarios where Luna Galaxy has their number, but Oxygen plays better against the field, or just gets easier brackets. I'll give it another 3-1 in favor of Luna Galaxy. I believe we saw this upset last split. Honestly, I'm tempted to call it. I think I'll call this a 3-2 Top Cougars. It's setting up to be similar to their Regional 3 run, where they had a very good start going 2-0 and then ended up having the toughest Swiss run, or the second toughest Swiss run of all time, only second to a Williams Resolve run back last year in the top 16 qualifier, I believe. This is where a lot of lower bracket teams are going to start to get eliminated, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not familiar with any of your guys' game. I apologize. I'll give this a 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, and then 3-2. I'll give that a 2 because, again, they pulled off that upset against Team 3. So they definitely have potential, but I'll go with Resolve. They won't get pushed too far. It's going to be a stressful weekend for Resolve if predictions go as expected. Vitality Top Cougars, this is exactly like their last run, and I'll have it stick with that 3-0. Luna Galaxy will not be able to overcome Gentlemates. I know it's a little boring predicting the top 2 to make top 2 again, but we did see this last event in Europe where most of the French teams were in this. Actually, all 4 of the French teams were in this 2-0 round. So at least that part was predictable. And then once we got to bracket, everything fell apart. But rematch of the century, this time I don't think BDS is going to stutter. I think they'll go 3-1. Oxygen Belly Goal, I like speed a lot, so I'll give them a game, but they're not taking down Oxygen. Team 3 and Sa. This is a Sa win. Considering they were able to take down Carmine, they're actually in the event. Once these guys get in the event, they normally perform a lot better. I'll give it a 3-2, but they'll be able to take that dub. This also has upset potential. I think this is an important matchup for Jobless because they've proven that they're still kind of solid 7th even after losing Joyo. But this Fast Forward does have some sneaky upset potential. I think it happened last event because I know that Nifty called the Fast Forward upset over Moist in the very first event of the year. But that being said, Jobless take care of business in 5. Valiant low block. I'm giving this a 3-1 to Valiant because, I'm not going to say it again. La Masia and Daystar, I'll give La Masia the win. Women in the RLCS, super cool to see. Luna Galaxy Jobless. Yeah, this should be Luna Galaxies. This is actually a great litmus test for Jobless to try to swing back to where they could be, but Luna Galaxy will take care of his business. This is a great matchup in the 2-1 round. Oh, if you're either of these teams, you are living for this 2-1 matchup. Both teams that took down Carmine, both teams that could be making a run. Gosh, I'm going to blow my vocal cords out. I'll give it 3-2 in favor of the Top Cougars. I like them a lot. They picked up Simas, right? Top Cougars? Yes, they did. So then BDS Oxygen. I personally, in my own power rankings, I have Oxygen at 8 and BDS at 9 when it comes to the world rankings. Some people might view that as jumping the gun. I'm looking at the fact that BDS looked very shaky in Regional 3, just got upset by Resolve, and did not actually pick up really much quality wins in Copenhagen. The one quality win in Swiss they had was G2, who they immediately lost to when it was the playoffs. I think this is a great battle, and this could be the series that everyone says this is the exact moment when Oxygen overtook BDS. But because I already have them ranked there, I'll predict them. Fast forward La Masia, I'll go 3-0 this time. This fast forward roster is just very strong. And they have Smokes, I believe. I do like Smokes as a player. He's had a lot of potential, just hasn't quite gotten it done yet. Belly Goal Valiant, you're liking this if you're speed. You're back into the 2 and 2 round. And this is a draw and a half in the 1 and 2 round. This is what I was talking about, how both these teams made round 5. Team 3 beat basically all the teams that Resolve beats, but they had a tougher opponent in round 5. They had to face Jobless, while Resolve had to face Endpoint. Obviously, Jobless and Resolve won, but a lot of people, myself included, after the Swiss, thought that Team 3 was the better team than Resolve. So this one's tough. I think Team 3 was clearly better than teams lower than them, but Resolve was able to swing up. I hope they're able to do it again, because I'm going to predict it 3-2 for Resolve. Just simply due to the fact that they did make that run last event, and I do respect that result a lot. BDS Belagol. BDS is not falling to Belagol. Sorry, Speed. This is not the draw you want to be seeing. I'll give it a 3-1. Banger 2 and 2 matchup, by the way, between teams you would not expect to see top 8. This is a fun one, and this is where I could really see them getting upset, and I think I'll call it. Maybe unpopular, but fast forwards feel like they've been knocking on the door of a top 8 performance so far. And I mean, if they draw Sa in this last round, especially compared to the teams they could be getting, that's a dream draw. So I'll have fast forward going through. And then Jobless Resolve, another important match for both of these teams, but unfortunately Resolve will fall short. They'll go 3-1 against Jobless. I do think these guys are very solidly in the 7th place for Europe, right behind the Oxygen Luna Galaxy combo. Without Carmine in these playoffs, this sets up insane for the major race. I think BDS drawing Gentlemates here is the worst possible thing that could happen for their major hopes. I'll go through some of the more obvious ones. This will be a 4-1 again. This is a dream matchup if you're Luna Galaxy. I think Top Cougars can make it close, so I'll go 4-2. But if you're Luna Galaxy, you're loving the fact that you drew them and you're taking advantage of that and actually making the semis again. Gentlemates BDS, I will go 4-1 here. Gentlemates has just been the better team recently, and BDS is starting to fall by the wayside. Personally, I think a lot of people are overhyping Monkey Moon's injury. I think that's being a little overstated, because they got upset by Resolve, but they also went 3-0 through Swiss, including beating Vitality. I haven't looked too much into it, but he's been streaming and stuff. This feels very different from when Rise was injured and it literally hurt him to play the game. I think Monkey Moon's doing better than Rise was then, and it's less of a Monkey Moon is injured. I think that's kind of masking the fact that these guys are actually kind of falling off. We'll see. That could age poorly. Oxygen fast forward, a dream draw. If you're Oxygen, you're smacking them. Not too entertaining of a European quarterfinals day, but what else is new? Vitality looking for the finals again, 4-1. And then this is where things get interesting. Oxygen almost got it done against Gentlemates last time. I do think the Gentlemates are the best team in the world, but I think this is the weekend Vitality passes them, because I will have Oxygen actually getting it done in Game 6 this time, and then Vitality take down Oxygen in the finals 4-2 as well. Vitality go back-to-back. This team, I think, is the clear favorites for this event. Gentlemates could make a run at them as well, and I think this Gentlemates team is solid, but with Carmine out of the picture, Vitality proved that they're back for the first time in a while. I think this is where they make their run. In terms of the points rankings and how things shape up, Carmine Core is in the same spot after this event as Dignitas is in North America when it comes to major hopes. Now, obviously, Carmine has much more potential to actually go out and win an event than Dignitas, but they've got a gap to close. So I think being behind by 11 points means that you need to win this next event and then hope that these Luna Galaxy, specifically Luna Galaxy, is out in quarters. I think that's the kind of gap we're talking. But an example like this actually really works well for Carmine still making the major because Luna Galaxy is a team that could easily go out in the quarterfinals. Resolve doesn't get a too high of a result, and BDS still stays pretty low, and they are definitely catchable, especially if my trend for them or my predicted trend for them continues. That being said, thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Adam for normally making the spreadsheets, but shout out to Cody, who was able to step in for Adam this week and get this spreadsheet done. I appreciate all the work you guys do. I will catch you all when we do predictions again, and we'll see if I actually have like a pretty well edited video coming out soon. I've got ideas that I really want to cook on, so we'll see if I get it done. Hopefully I'm not hyping you up for nothing, but either way, thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.